How do you fix common ESC firmware flashing problems? Imagine trying to update the software on your remote control car or drone and suddenly everything freezes or stops working. That can be frustrating, but don't worry. Most issues with flashing electronic speed controller firmware are fixable. First, let's understand what an electronic speed controller is. It's a small circuit board that controls motor speed and direction based on signals from your radio receiver. Firmware is the software that runs on the ESC, and flashing means updating or changing that software to improve performance or add new features. Problems during flashing often happen because of interrupted power, wrong firmware choices, or communication errors. If your ESC becomes unresponsive or the motor won't spin, it's time to troubleshoot. Start by checking all your cables and connections. Make sure the battery is fully charged and that cables are plugged in securely. A loose connection or low voltage can cause flashing to fail. Next, verify you are selecting the correct firmware version for your specific ESC model. Using the wrong firmware can brick the device, making it unresponsive. Look for the model number on the ESC or check the manufacturer's website for compatible firmware. If you're unsure, it's better to double-check before flashing. Interference can also cause issues. Turn off your radio transmitter during the flashing process. Some radio signals, especially from protocols like SPI used in certain receivers, can interfere with the firmware update. Keep other electronic devices away to avoid disruption. Use the proper flashing tools for your ESC. Many use the BL Heli configurator or JESC configurator, which connect via USB or direct solder pads. Make sure you're using the right interface for your ESC. Some tools have options to ignore microcontroller mismatches, which can help recover a bricked ESC. If your ESC becomes unresponsive after a failed flash, don't give up. Try reflashing the firmware with the correct settings. Sometimes, force flashing the firmware through the configurator can restore functionality. If that doesn't work, you might need to do a manual bootloader flash. This involves connecting the ESC directly to a programmer like an Arduino and writing the firmware at a lower level. This is more advanced and requires careful handling of the communication pads. After a successful flash, test the ESC by connecting it to a motor and battery. The motor should beep to show it's working normally. If it stutters or doesn't spin, double-check your connections and firmware settings. Persistent problems could mean hardware damage, like a shorted voltage regulator or microcontroller, which usually means replacing the ESC. Always back up your current firmware settings before flashing, so you can restore them if needed. Follow step-by-step guides specific to your ESC and firmware. If you're unsure about any step, seek advice from experienced hobbyists or your local RC shop. In summary, most flashing problems can be fixed by checking connections, selecting the right firmware, avoiding interference, and using the correct tools. If your ESC becomes unresponsive, reflash or try manual recovery. With patience and the right approach, updating your ESC firmware becomes a straightforward part of maintaining your RC vehicles.